Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to play this Cook game. It's probably a little inflated in the sense that we didn't really have that many troops. Essentially the ISIS units carried out some sort of suicide attacks, car bombs, and then moved into the southern areas of Kirkuk, but they were fairly quickly repulsed. The South Front articles suggest that there are about 50 of them, so there's more units than 50, but I'm just using a little artistic license there. And it says that they were all killed, so that's that. To sort of reflect the action, I have no idea, I haven't really played this through. I've been a bit busy for a while, and so I'm really just sort of getting this video together so that I've at least maybe got some activity going. We'll be back into gear at some point, I imagine, hopefully. But anyway, so I've not played it, so I don't really know how it's going to end up. But basically, we start off with some insurgent units, and I can't even remember whether they work. So how much movement we've got left here? 2.3. Let's move these up. So basically, these represent the 1.4. So they're sort of moving into position. 5. I'm going to leave them both there and call that the end of that turn. Now, to be quite honest, these units could move out and take those, but I'm not going to because they're still, in theory, covert. So I'm doing some role playing in there. So it's the end of the Iraq turn. A bit of a spelling mistake down there. I thought I sorted that out, but I'll sort that out soon. So here we have the offensive force coming in. So we'll start moving some of these units. Three movement left. Well, let's see what happens there. So he's in the zone of control now. So we can do both of these places. And they really shouldn't be battalions. As I'm a bit pushed for time, so we'll get what we get. Okay, so they've all got sort of some movement left. So we're going to try one of these insurgent units, see what that does. Okay, so if you're not used to the insurgent units, basically they attack in a slightly different way. Now there's only one unit in there, so we've got the radio button selected. So basically he's going to attack that. Now we could attack any one unit. So if there were 5 units in there, insurgent units don't attack all of them. So it is slightly different. It's not a clear example of how different that is. We will select one of the units. Obviously we don't have to, we can go back, but I'm going to go forward and do that attack. And assault roll is 65. The insurgent action succeeded, causing a depression of 3 on this unit here. So we now no longer have that unit available. Yeah, he's still in the stack down there. He's used 6. It's going to take him about 3 turns to get back into gear. So we've had a successful operation against that. So we will use another. I think another suicide attack against that unit, and that action succeeded. I'd have to read the rules, so I can't remember the variants on this, but I think the bigger the unit, the harder it is. I think because he's got defense of 3, I would have needed to roll under. I think it's about 5 for each point, so under 85. So 75 wasn't a brilliant roll. I'll have to look at the rules, but so anyway, we've now hammered that down to a depression of 6. I mean, that's some permanent damage, so that's a pretty powerful assault by those insurgent units doing whatever they do, which means that we now can do probably a fairly effective assault. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 versus say 1. This is probably going to get probably 6 versus. So these are 6. There's a 0.4 of that. One is worth 1.2. Well, for sake of anything, I'm going to put them all in. Probably give me a 7 to 1, 4 to 1. Well, that was a DR. So essentially, with those preparatory assaults, we were able to undermine that, and I chose 2 on that, and we didn't get 1 on that. So swings and roundabouts, but we've not got any movement left anywhere. I think he got some defensive factors because he was in the light urban. So that's that unit. So we'll end that turn. And so it's now the Iraqi turn. These Kurds here. If you remember, the Kurds took Kirkuk from the ISIS about 6-8 months ago. There is a game to reflect some of that action in this on the site. So this was under Iraqi control. The best thing to do. Well, I think the best thing to do might be. I mean, this is pretty much knacked. We've done a lot of damage against that. I mean, 2 minds as to whether. I think I'm going to retreat him back to there. Push him forward. Okay. Now, just to perhaps put this into some perspective, or there's the insurgent unit. We're going to try again, but as you notice, as you can see, fortunately, it doesn't work because if you look at him, he's at used 4. If you look at that mouse over, it says used 4. So he's got another. He was at used 6, so he's got another 2 turns to wait before he can actually do anything. And the actual sort of what you're really supposed to do in this instance is to move them off the board, or at least away from where they can be attacked. I mean, essentially, what we're sort of reflecting there is that they've gone off to make some more bombs, prepare a new car bomb, and they've got to be somewhere where they're safe. So, they're probably safe down there. I mean, they'd maybe go off board, but they're not going to be active for another few turns. They are pretty powerful, so they're still sort of slightly under development. Now, we've got these units here. This is pretty much dead. They could recover down to 6, so they're not completely dead, but I think we've got an option to take this unit out. So we'll do our best to surround. Now I think this is a crap shot. I'm not even going to think of the odds, but if that other one was 4 to 1 with quite a hefty demoralisation, this is probably going to be a 1 to 1 or maybe a 2 to 1. Yep, but it was a defender retreat, so it's going sort of in the way that it did sort of semi-historically. And we'll move that into there, and I think everyone will sit around and congratulate themselves. There is an option to follow up on that. because the other unit is at depression 2. We've all got some sort of movement. I am actually going to go for it. Oh, look at that, a die roll of 12. That's what you get for being greedy. Well, that was their. They went in. They took the southern part of Kukuk, and then they were rudely repulsed. That's not the right word, but anyway, they made good ground, and then they stumbled onto a stoic defence. Last stand of the Peshmeri, whatever it was, unit that took a pounding from the car bombs. Okay, so now it's the Iraqi turn. Now they've got maybe, they're perhaps a little more, the spirits have been lifted by that defence, but I don't think they really want to be attacking because they're still attacking at 1-to-1 odds into city. I don't think they want to be doing that, and I think they're just going to sit there. In theory, I think they should be going into Kirkuk, but I'm not going to quibble. So, then that turn. Right. The ISIS player is not going to do anything because they want to recover their units. And similarly, the Iraqi player is not going to do anything because they want to recover. Okay, now there's still depression 1, so they're going to recover. But these units have appeared now. So, let's see. What we can do. Okay, so there's now some sort of offensive force there. And you'll notice that these are mechanized units. Now, do I cut across here? I think so. Running out of time. You can't see the clock, but let's speed it up. Okay, now the ISIS player is now fully recovered. I'm not going to do any more car bombs because I don't think. I think it should only already start off with that. They shouldn't really be able to sort of regroup, but they're now available technically, so I might actually make that even harder than it was. The duration even longer, because 3 turns is not a lot. They're pretty powerful. But we've got this. We've recovered all these units, and now the question is, do they try? Okay. Well, they're contesting a lot more of these objectives, but now we have the mechanized units, and they've recovered pretty much as they're going to recover. So we'll move these like so. I've got a few seconds. Let's see whether they can start to make a dent. That's what they needed. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, back. Had a little think. Not much, but a little think. Whilst it's all uploading, it's doing something else. And, came to a conclusion. I think if you really wanted to sort of win for ISIS, I think they really needed to pummel these two units completely, and maybe not to prepare a defensive line, but you know, be in a position to sort of receive these when they do come on. I mean, although they're not that much, they're allowing for the surround, their additional units. Just to recap, that unit was obviously eliminated from there, so they're now already down one. I really don't think there's any. I'm not saying there's no point, but I think they lost the sort of, you know, all the opportunities they had in those first few turns by recovering. Now that was an unfortunate attack that they got an attack and retreat on, but you know, so it's one of these things that you could probably play it a few times and get different sorts of results, but I think you've got to play it again and win in those first turns to stand any sort of chance. Ideally be fully entrenched when these units arrive. I'm not sure how that's possible. I just wanted to say something else, not sort of massively important, but this is yeah. Obviously, I've got the YouTube channel, which is where I upload these videos, and they don't really get any views. I mean, this one here has 5 views, and the reason I'm sort of coming here is because that's stupid sound. I must admit, it's always a bit odd listening to me talk, but this video is Southeast Hammer. It had 4 views for 2 weeks, and obviously no one's watching these videos. But that doesn't deter me because I enjoy doing them, and it's a long-term game. But I watched it, and it was just so interesting. I mean, it all takes place in this little video down here. There's just sort of the micro, the micro, whatever you want to call it, the micro detail of sort of just how this sort of thing works. And again, here we've got this sort of micro detail. It's not the eastern front, but you know, even though I only had 4 views, I just sort of feel that, well, it was a fantastic video. It prompted me to do this one. I thought I just got to keep doing these because they're good. You know, it doesn't matter whether I don't know. I'm not saying the game is perfectly brilliant, but you know, for what it is, it had me on the edge. You know, but in that game there were quite a few unexpected devastations, so to speak. But I think every game has its own sort of variance, and I'm not sure whether this one is as exciting. But you know, even in the other one, it all seemed over, about 3 points for each side, and I'm pretty sure, you know, that the Iraqi forces are going to win here. But you know, perhaps in context of the other one, it's not actually a sure thing until it's done. So it's the Iraqi turn now, and they've just taken out that unit. And so well, so we've got the option here to just sort of put him into there, plough into that. This is going to this one. Well, that's going to be at least a 5-1. He's not depressed, but Yeah, it's going to be a 7-to-1 because they're mechanised against infantry. 7-to-1 DR. I mean, I think that the thing with that other game, the South Hammer, I think it was that I was referring to, the tide went both ways so quickly, even though it seemed predictable. I think most games are fairly predictable, and this is a fairly predictable game. The ISIS player comes in, can take some sort of, possession of the southern objectives, and will be kicked out. I think that's sort of fairly obvious. And if it doesn't happen like that, then it's a quirk. It's sort of not really. I think you can sort of predict these things fairly safely. Now he's just been sort of repulsed. I'm going to end that turn. I don't think we've got any more movement left. I don't want to do any attacks with this. They've moved. These units have all moved, so it really is. There's no air power in this also, which is obviously apparent. But okay, so what can the ISIS player do? I mean, we've not got these units in play. It's an option if you want to continue using those, because maybe they'd still have some car bombs, some suicide bombers, who knows. Now obviously they could retreat, but historically they've all died apparently according to South Front, so maybe hang in there. And I think really well, that's probably the only one we can do. I'm not even going to think of the odds, but it might not even be a 1-to-1. Yep, it's a 1-to-2. But that wasn't so bad. That was an exchange. Now that's not good, really, because all of the ISIS units become depressed, and so do these. He's got depression 1. He should be up to 7. Yep. So it's representative of their struggle. So it's now the Syrian player turn, and how far south can we get? Yep. Well, I mean, I've no idea how this will turn out, but I'm going to hazard a guess that it's goodbye Orinoco. DR. Okay, so they're on the run. And again, I have no idea what the odds are going to be. And I can't even remember what the odds were on the other one. All I know is we've got DR. 2-to-1 and the exchange. I'm playing it way too fast then without sort of thinking. But, I mean, that's quite a dynamic. I mean, we'll push them back sort of from that sort of front line down to this. So, it's got a dynamic there going in this direction. They've got some movement left. Which movement do we actually have here? Only one. Depression 5, Depression 3, mechanised. Let's go for it. 3-to-1 DR. Look at that. So the Iraqi forces really having no problems pushing back the ISIS units from southern Kirkuk. Now, really, they are stuffed. I mean, Depression 5, Depression 7, Depression 2, Depression 2. Do they have any options left? Possibly against this unit. Five to 1, defender eliminated. So, maybe not a great move, but at least it pulls back something for them. This unit has some movement left, as does this unit, and so it's going to be a crap shot, definitely, but one to three. Right, well, it's one of these situations actually. It sort of makes me laugh because it looks quite nice. Nice sort of alignment. They're all knackered, aren't they? Depression 4, and these ones are 5, 7. Well, I think that's good by Mr. Chips. I think we can afford to move these units here. I'm really not even thinking about the odds. I just think that we're going to do it. Yep, 3 to 1 DR. Let's use the Prushmiri units against this. Impetuous. That's the shouting. 2 to 1. See, not brilliant odds. 3 to 1, 2 to 1. I mean, they're not sure things, but they're getting the DRs, which is what they need. They're getting good dice rolls, and that wasn't so bad because it stacked him up there, setting him up quite nicely for the coup de grace. And I am going to actually, I mean, that's just overkill, isn't it? I really don't need that one. What are they? So he's 1. So about 2 in the desert. Yeah, that should be about 5 to 1, 6 to 1. Defender retreats. So quite a nice dynamic there of the ISIS units being retreated from the south of Kirkuk. I think it's interesting how that's actually working because they are gradually being pummeled right down. Yeah, when I make that interesting how it works from a game mechanic, I mean it's a sort of successful game because it's to some extent believable. I mean the units are being pushed back. The thing that makes it a little more believable is they're retreating into sort of like quite a nice place. Sometimes they tend to retreat in this direction. When you're doing other things, they sort of retreat in a silly direction. For example, if you were attacking there, they would retreat to there. I've still yet to sort of get that random retreat or the ideal retreat rule into the game. But what's that? Depression 6, Depression 8. I mean that's knackered. 6, 8. Maybe that's the one I looked at before. 8, 6, 6 and 8, 6 and 8. What have we got in here? Still got some movement. Movement. That. Okay. Seven to 1, defender eliminated. Well, they killed everyone in the according to South Front article. So let's see what we can do here. Less than 30 seconds to go. Six to 1, defender eliminated. So with 20 seconds left to go, the Iraqi units have achieved the historical precedent of eliminating all the enemy and recapturing Kirkuk. So just such a perfect simulation. Okay, well that's it. Hope you enjoy that. Stay tuned for more. Cheerio.